Zegler's outspoken and highly controversial behavior has shaken one of Hollywood's biggest companies to its core. Comments and actions have completely undone months of work by Disney executives to rebuild Snow White's reputation for a new generation of viewers. Now Disney is facing significant backlash, with many questioning the direction of their creative choices. Controversy surrounding Snow White 2025 isn't just about the film. It has become a cultural flashpoint, sparking debates across social media platforms. At the center of it all is Rachel Zegler, the movie's lead, whose reputation for stirring drama seems to know no bounds.
All of a sudden, you show up and we have to eliminate all the memories of these young girls who grew up wanting to have an experience like that?
While some argue she's simply being authentic, others believe her approach is reckless and damaging. What's more, her actions haven't just impacted Disney, they've put her own career in jeopardy. Zegler's vocal criticism of the Snow White remake sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving filmmakers wary of working with her. This isn't just about one movie. It's a cautionary tale for stars navigating the tricky balance between personal beliefs and professional responsibilities. Shockingly, Zegler hasn't secured a role in any major projects over the past 2 years, a stark contrast to her initial rise to fame. Her controversial comments have created a ripple effect, with producers unwilling to take a risk on someone who might derail their projects. This situation raises an important question. Can an actor's personal behavior overshadow their talent? Disney has been desperately cutting costs in recent months, with CEO Bob Iger at the helm, trying to salvage the already struggling Snow White project. Once expected to be a guaranteed box office hit, the movie now feels like it's headed straight for disaster. What was supposed to be a magical revival of a classic has become a colossal challenge, with public outrage spiraling into a full-blown PR crisis. Fans aren't just disappointed, they're angry, and their frustration is impossible for Disney to ignore. This isn't just a debate about a single film, it's part of a larger conversation about Disney's creative direction. Can the company recapture its lost magic? Or is this the start of a bigger cultural shift away from the Disney we all grew up loving? The controversy really took off after the trailer for Snow White 2025 premiered at D23. Instead of excitement, the response was overwhelmingly negative. There was no applause, no buzz, just waves of backlash. Fans didn't hold back, and the outrage spread like wildfire across social media. What started as criticism quickly turned into something far worse: calls for a boycott. Yes, a Disney movie, one of the most cherished brands in cinematic history, now faces the unthinkable: people actively refusing to support it. Audiences longed for nostalgia and enchanting fantasy, but instead they feel like they're being handed a lecture, and this time it seems fans are collectively saying enough is enough. At the center of this heated debate is the very essence of Snow White, a character who has always symbolized innocence and classic fairy tale magic. However, this new version has sparked controversy, starting with the casting of Snow White herself. Played by Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, this choice has divided opinion. And then there are the 7 dwarfs, who in this adaptation aren't dwarfs at all, and none of them are white. Representation in media is undeniably important, but fans argue Disney has lost sight of the story's core. They're not upset about diversity. They're upset that the focus feels more on delivering a message than preserving the magic of the original tale. For many, Snow White is a deeply nostalgic figure, someone who takes them back to their childhood. But this new interpretation feels like a drastic shift away from everything the story represents. For some, that's a deal breaker. This leads to a larger controversy surrounding Disney's prioritization of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. Let's be clear, diversity can elevate storytelling when it's done right, but when it feels forced or disconnected from the narrative, it risks coming off as insincere. Fans don't go to the movies to be lectured about current social issues. They go to escape, to experience a magical world far removed from the complexities of real life. Disney's challenge lies in finding a balance between modern representation and preserving the timeless wonder that made its stories iconic. It's a tricky path to navigate, and right now, many fans feel they've strayed too far. Instead, what fans are getting feels more like a modern woke retelling written in 2024 than a timeless fairy tale first imagined in 1882. This shift from storytelling to messaging has left a lot of people feeling disappointed and disconnected from what made Disney magical in the first place. The charm of a beloved classic seems to have been replaced by an agenda, and fans aren't holding back their frustration. Speaking of frustration, Rachel Zegler finds herself at the center of the storm. Known for stirring up controversy, Zegler's recent comments about the original Snow White have pushed her reputation into dangerous territory. Rather than honoring Disney's 100 years of magic or celebrating the legacy of her role, she's openly criticized the original story, calling it outdated and irrelevant. This has turned her into a polarizing figure, with many accusing her of disrespecting the very foundation of the character she's portraying. Fans aren't impressed, and they're making their opinions known. They're saying that if Zegler wants to take on the iconic role of Snow White, the least she could do is respect the character's legacy. For many, her dismissive attitude feels like a betrayal of the story they've cherished for generations. Instead of celebrating the remake, audiences are left wondering if the heart of Snow White has been lost entirely in this updated version. The controversy continues to grow, raising the stakes for Disney in an already challenging situation. Instead of honoring the original, this remake feels like a modern woke story from 2024, rather than the classic fairy tale from 1812. This shift from storytelling to messaging has left many fans frustrated and questioning Disney's casting choices. The backlash has intensified to the point where Rachel Zegler is reportedly being cut from future Disney projects. Though she remains tied to Snow White 2025, the biggest question on everyone's mind is, why? Why take a beloved classic like Snow White and twist it into something almost unrecognizable? If Disney wants to tell new modern stories, that's fine. So why not create new characters and worlds? Instead, they're taking tales people grew up loving and turning them into something completely different. For fans, it's not just disappointing, it feels disrespectful. This approach risks alienating the very audience that has cherished these stories for generations, leading to a broader discussion about the balance between innovation and tradition in storytelling. Rachel Zegler isn't staying quiet amid the controversy. Instead, she's pointing fingers at Disney's marketing team, blaming them for the backlash. She argues that their promotional strategy, or lack thereof, has fueled public outrage rather than building excitement. Every trailer, poster, and snippet released seems to have intensified public anger instead of generating anticipation. In response to this marketing debacle, Disney is reportedly taking drastic measures by firing the entire marketing team for the movie, hoping that a new team can somehow salvage its image. This decision underscores the severity of the situation and the immense pressure on the new marketing squad to turn things around. The stakes are incredibly high, and the challenge of reshaping public perception at this stage is monumental. This turmoil raises critical questions about the effectiveness of promotional strategies and the importance of aligning them with audience expectations. It also highlights the delicate balance studios must maintain between innovation and honoring the essence of beloved classics. As Disney navigates this crisis, the industry watches closely, learning valuable lessons about audience engagement and the perils of misaligned marketing. Attempting to make the film appealing at this late stage is like trying to rebuild a house in the middle of a hurricane. It's not just damage control, it's desperation. Disney's executives are panicking because this boycott isn't just some online blip, it's a full-blown PR catastrophe. In a last-ditch effort, Disney is pushing for reshoots just months before the movie's release. They're bringing everyone back for October 2024 reshoots, hoping these last-minute changes will win back fans. Rachel Zegler and the rest of the key cast are being called back, practically begging them to help fix this mess. But let's be honest, how much can really change this late in the game? The ripple effect doesn't stop there. Disney had big plans for Snow White 2025 merchandise, action figures, dolls, themed apparel, you name it. These are usually reliable sources of revenue, but with the current backlash, the success of these products is now in jeopardy. The company faces not only a cinematic flop, but also a potential merchandise disaster, compounding the financial and reputational damage. With fans giving the movie the cold shoulder, Disney has slammed the brakes on all its planned merchandise. Instead of flying off the shelves, those toys and outfits are now looking like they'll end up collecting dust in warehouses. For a company that relies heavily on merchandising to generate billions, this is a massive blow. The ripple effect could extend far beyond Snow White 2025, impacting Disney's future ventures in consumer products. But if you think that's bad, brace yourself. The financial stakes are even higher. Disney has already sunk a staggering $300 million into this movie, and with reshoots now on the table, they're preparing to spend another $10 to $15 million on top of that. It's a massive gamble, plain and simple. They're pouring even more money into a project that's already become a PR nightmare and a financial headache, praying for a miracle to turn it around. Realistically, though, how often do these last-minute fixes actually work? The reshoots might patch a few holes, but they can't erase the damage already done. With the total budget now ballooning to an estimated $405 million, the stakes couldn't be higher. The real question is, will Disney learn from this, or are we destined to see more cherished classics turned into cautionary tales of what not to do? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. If Disney doesn't return to what it does best, delivering sheer entertainment without polarizing agendas, the magic that once defined the House of Mouse could be lost forever. So, what do you think? Is this the end of Disney's live-action era as we know it? Or can the studio somehow recover from this monumental misstep? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on this unfolding drama. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting updates on Snow White 2025 and other big projects in Hollywood. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.